All right, hello everybody. How we doing, Zoomtopia? All right. My name is Neil Livonius. I'm the product marketing lead for ZoomPhone, our cloud phone system. How many people is their first Zoomtopia? All right, welcome. We're very excited to have everybody here. How many people know about ZoomPhone? Raise your hand. All right, anybody here a customer using ZoomPhone yet? All right, thank you very much. So today, if you haven't heard about ZoomPhone, I'm going to go through more of a deep dive as to what it is, what are some of the capabilities, and where it fits into the Zoom portfolio of solutions. Towards the end, if there's still time and I can hear you because it's pretty loud, we'll do a Q&A, okay? So I like to start off by level setting. You know, how many people here know what a business phone system is? Right? I think we all do, but if you don't, I think there's a very long history, and it's evolved over the past 100 years. You've probably, if you've seen me speak before, talk about that when we went from analog on-premise to TDM on-premise, it was cool. We got to talk on the phone. We started adding features in like voicemail and auto attendance and IVRs. Super exciting stuff. And then we started to evolve into something called unified communications about 20 years ago, where we started to see voice be combined with messaging and other components. And this was great, but for some reason it just never really clicked, that people would buy all these different point solutions, but we couldn't get it to work in a seamless user experience. And I think that's what's evolved us into today with ZoomPhone. So everybody knows Zoom, knows the Zoom Meetings product, and people love the Meetings product because it's easy to use, it's frictionless, it just works. So what ZoomPhone is bringing that phone system capability right into the Zoom platform as a native feature. It's not a separate product, it's built on our platform. So now we're essentially completing that will, right? We have meetings, we have rooms, we have phone, we have chat messaging, and we have our open platform that you can use our APIs to integrate all of the Zoom components into all of your favorite applications. So it is a modern cloud phone solution. And if you were in the keynote, you may have heard Eric talk about video PBX, because that's where we're going. We believe in a video-first world, because if you think about the way people communicate today, we're primarily a messaging-based culture now. I want to send a text message to somebody, and then if we have to talk in real time, I might send them a calendar invite with information on how to join a meeting. We want you to turn that video on. And we are doing that because that's what happens in our private lives. We are the Snapchat, Instagram generation, and so we're used to that. And so that's really the focus of why we're here today. So with the cloud phone system, it is a traditional PBX. It has most of the features that you would come to expect. So if you're on any of those legacy voice-first products, we are bringing all of that into the Zoom cloud. Because it's on the same platform, super easy to manage. It's part of the same admin portal. So everybody here is familiar with the Zoom admin portal, right? If you're in IT, pretty straightforward, easy to use. So now Zoom Phone is just another component in that admin window. Of course, it has to be secure and reliable. Without security, we don't want people eavesdropping on our phone calls because it could be very sensitive. And with phone, people have an expectation for higher uptime. Phones usually don't go down. They're not supposed to go down. So we have to make sure that it's been built to meet those really high standards, which we have. Now, what are the capabilities? You said phone system. You said you have most of those PBX features, and we truly do. So we have intelligent call routing. So your auto attendance, IVR, call routing, it's there. We even have call queues. We have the ability to have agents belong to those queues. Very basic call routing capabilities, but they're there. Everybody expects mobile and desktop apps, which are there too, but we also have standards-based interoperability with desk phones from Poly and Yealink and Audio Codes and other partners, which I'll get into more in a second. Yes, we have voicemail, but we also have call recording. And our voicemail includes call transcription, or voicemail transcription rather. So you don't have to listen to voicemail, because nobody really wants to listen to voicemail anymore, right? We just want to be able to read it and then make a decision if I want to respond to that call or not. Those voicemails can be delivered to email, or I can just read it right within the Zoom app. Our call recording, when we first launched, was on demand, so the user would have to select if I wanted to record this call. And then last week, we rolled out full-time automatic call recording as well. So we have the full suite of call recording capabilities built right into the Zoom product. Everything is secure, HD voice, which means all of our media packets are encrypted. We encrypt them by default. We're using an HD codec. So a codec is what how the media is actually is sent over the internet back to the Zoom cloud. We're using the Opus codec if you're curious as to what we use. And since we've launched, people always ask me, well, are you ready for us as a customer? Is Zoom ready? And within the first 9 months of the product being out, or it's 12 months if we go back to Zoomtopia last year where we announced it, we've made tremendous progress. When we went GA, general availability, in January, we had a decent feature set, but since then we've had 5 major releases where we've added in things like Bring Your Own Carrier, our contact center partner program. We've rolled out and expanded Zoom into additional countries besides just the US and Canada. Now we're in the UK, we're in Australia. Next month we'll be in Ireland, New Zealand, Puerto Rico. And then over the next couple months, we're expanding into 11 additional countries, or 13 additional countries now. So we're on a fast track to get this everywhere globally. We support over 50 devices. So a lot of people say, well, can I use a phone? Do I have to use apps? No, if you want that traditional handset experience, we have certified over 50 devices now to work with the Zoom platform. And we're processing millions of minutes a week already. And everybody has the NASCAR logo slide. This is just a few of the customers that we've signed in the first 9 months that we've been out in the wild, in general availability. So I think with all of that, we really have achieved escape velocity. That Zoom phone is there, it's ready for prime time. And we're not just for small businesses or just for large enterprises. If you look at how we've been successful so far, it's a pretty even split of enterprise companies, of which we qualify as 1,000 or more employees, and then our mass market companies, which are less than 1,000 employees. And today, our largest customer has deployed over 10,000 phones internally across all industries. So we're strong in tech, retail. It doesn't matter. We're seeing a pretty even split, which is great news because we've delivered that feature set that applies to everybody out there. By providing one unified app for phone, video, meetings, and chat, we're able to allow you to make phone calls from wherever you are. And my most favorite thing is if I start with a voice-only phone call, I can now elevate that right into a meeting. So if you saw the keynote earlier today, I think Vi was able to demonstrate that now you can take that phone call, go right into a meeting, all of the participants are added. If they are audio only and they would like to join with video and they're not already using Zoom, the person that started the meeting can send them an invite. They can get an email, SMS invite, just like you would a regular Zoom meeting, and then they can join and have the full video experience with content sharing. Apps work on all of the standard platforms. We're iOS, Android on mobile, Mac OS, Windows, and we also just launched Linux support. Now, I don't expect everybody to read this. If you're at the DMV and you need to go through the eye test, it's probably a good chart to do that with. And I'm not going to talk to any of this, otherwise we'll be here for 3 hours, and I don't want anybody to be here for longer than 20 minutes. But we are fairly feature complete, right? So we have everything from the call handling rules and capabilities I talked about earlier to all of the admin trappings that you would come to expect in a cloud PBX. Everybody get your pictures in? All right. So let's talk about the hardware ecosystem. When we first launched, we launched with Poly and Yealink as our preferred device partners. Since then, we've expanded our portfolio. We now support Cisco endpoints. We support endpoints from audio codes. And now we have paging and intercom devices from Algo. And the best thing about this is that once you make the investment, when you're switching off from a proprietary solution, that these devices will work with just about anything. So if you're already using a cloud service provider with one of these vendors, bring your phones over. We can reprovision them, connect them to Zoom phone, no problem. And then if you're migrating from a legacy platform, like an Avaya, Cisco, Mitel, ShoreTel, whatever tel, all soon to be going away tels. I just said that, didn't I? That once you make the investment into these standards-based devices, that you're going to be more free to make changes, to evolve and adapt as your business dictates. Now, one thing you didn't probably see on the eye chart was contact center. We are not a contact center because there are so many world-class contact center companies out there today that why reinvent the wheel? That you have something already deployed, it's probably revenue generating, and we want to play nicely with it. We want to rely on the experts to provide this service to you. So back in March at Enterprise Connect, a trade show in Florida, we announced 5.9 and Twilio support. And at this show today, we're announcing that we now support Genesys, TalkDesk, and NICE inContact. Now, what our integration does is that means we've set up direct peering, direct network routing into their clouds. So if I need to transfer a phone call from zoomphone to 5.9, I can do that, and it stays between our two networks. We don't have to send it back out to the PSTN to route into 5.9. So it stays on net. It saves you some money. There's more control, better quality of service. It's more secure because we've set up these routes between all of the companies, so you don't have to worry about it. And my favorite feature is, not only did we set up the routes between the two companies, we have call routing defined as well. So if I'm in the Zoom auto attendant setting up my call routing, I can select one of these contact center providers as a destination. So I don't even have to go in there and manually configure anything. We have already pre-configured what it takes to get to 5.9, Twilio, NICE inContact, Genesys, or TalkDesk. Now, if we have contact center integration, people say, well, what about Salesforce and CRM? So we have built out-of-the-box Salesforce integration. So we have the ability to screen pop. So when you have an inbound call, we'll search for that record in Salesforce and pop it if there's a caller ID match. If there's no match, we'll pop a blank record so you can create a new one without having to go in and say, create new contact. If I need to make an outbound call, of course, we have click to dial. So I see the phone number, I click to dial, and I'm connected. And then, while the call is in progress, whether that was a new contact, existing contact, or an inbound or outbound call, we do call activity logging right into that contact record within Salesforce. So that way, you don't have to rely on that salesperson or whoever's in there to go in and manually type what that call was about and create the new activity. We will create the activity for you automatically. And then, since we're talking about improving performance of agents, what about improving performance of Zoom Phone itself? So how many people here have seen the Zoom dashboard for meetings? Yeah, so everybody's pretty familiar with it. So we've taken that and we've expanded it for Zoom Phone. And what the dashboards do, they allow you to go in, see the transaction details for every phone call that's made. And we include things like quality information. We score every call. We assign a MOS score, a mean opinion score. Anything above a 3.5 mean opinion score is considered a good business quality call. We currently average, I believe, 4.3 on every call that traverses our system, which is very high, out of a maximum of like 4.5. And when there are issues, we track things like latency, jitter, packet loss, and you can use that information to troubleshoot network issues. So if somebody complains about a poor quality call, you can go into our dashboard and we'll help you troubleshoot where it happened or when it happened and on whose network. Was it internal? Was it external? Was it public over your direct routes? Was it Zoom? Or maybe it was one of our carrier partners. So we provide all of the tools to help everybody diagnose, troubleshoot, and resolve as quickly as possible any type of quality issue that happens. Shared line appearance, probably one of my more favorite features of the solution. This sounds like an old thing. You're like, well, my PBX 30 years ago did this, right? And what we've done is we've made it very simple, and we're accomplishing a lot of things with this. So what we allow you to do is to assign multiple roles to a single user. So let's say I'm the executive admin or executive assistant for our CEO. He can assign me privileges to his line whenever he receives a call. I can answer that call for him. So that's one use case. And then I can, if he's available, I can put the call on hold and then he can pick it up. So there's a lot of use cases for this. Being an executive assistant, providing call coverage is one. Maybe I'm in a retail store and I want one phone with 4 lines that I can receive customer service or customer inquiries on. I can do that. So there's a lot of various use cases here. I can even use it. Let's say I answer the call on my mobile phone and I need to send it to my desk phone, and then I need to bring it into a Zoom room or someplace else. Our shared line appearance also functions to provide that call flip capability between all of my devices. Because I may take a call in the car because I'm running late coming back from lunch. As soon as I get to my desk, I want to transfer or flip that call to my desk. And then if I'm in an open air environment and the call is more of a personal or confidential sensitive nature, I can then walk into a Zoom room and flip the call right to a Zoom room. So this is something that only a company like Zoom that has all of these capabilities on one platform are able to provide, and to provide it in a frictionless manner. Now, let's say I'm in my car and I'm going through an area that has poor LTE, 4G, 5G reception. I need to switch that call over to my cellular network or to some other PSTN number because of that call coverage or call quality capability. We can now do that. So in our release that came out last week, we announced the ability to switch a mobile call from voice over IP to a cellular phone call. And that call doesn't have to switch to your personal cell phone. So let's say I live out in the country and I don't have good cellular reception, I can actually flip the call to any phone number. So I can flip it to my home phone. If I'm visiting a partner, I can flip it to my partner's phone or to any real phone number. So long as it's a phone number that can be dialed, you can flip the call to that number and still maintain control. The administrator can see it, view it, and report on it. Now let's talk about security for a second. Everything is secured, as I mentioned earlier, but if you want to know a little more of those details, here they are. So we do use TLS authentication for the SIP signaling. All of the media is encrypted with SRTP. All of the connections we have to our carriers that we backhaul the call traffic over is done through direct route. So when we get the call from you, we don't send the call over the public internet to our carriers and to our partners. Everything stays on private networks. All of the data is encrypted at rest, whether that's on the desktop using our application on your mobile device or in our cloud. And of course, we have active geo-redundant servers spread throughout the world. So that way, if one of our data centers do have an issue, that everything's automatically rerouted to another data center. Oftentimes, our customers don't know that they were switched. Now let's talk about how we provide PSTN access. How do we make your phone call happen? So we are a carrier. We are providing that VoIP regulated service to you. That means you can port your existing phone numbers into the Zoom cloud. We can provide you with new phone numbers if you'd like. We support toll-free numbers. We support emergency dialing. And it's enhanced E911 emergency dialing. So you can set up your location, so that way when you do place an emergency call, the emergency services know where to respond to automatically. We provide caller ID and caller name, which are table stakes, and we offer a lot of different calling plans, metered and unlimited calling plans. Today we're available in the United States and Canada, Australia and the UK with our native calling. New Zealand, Ireland, and Puerto Rico are coming next month in a few weeks. And then, as if you heard during the keynote, we've also announced beta availability in 11 additional countries. So we're growing very, very fast. Now, what if Zoom Phone isn't available in my country or in my geo? Or what if I love my service provider? Could be anybody, right? Could be AT&T, it could be British Telecom, it could be Orange, it could be Tata, it could be anybody. What if I love them and I don't want to give them up? We support that too. So Zoom Phone uniquely allows you to bring your own carrier to our platform. So essentially, we become a PBX in the cloud, and you provide the service. So if you're extremely happy with your current carrier, bring them on over. We'd love to connect with them. So the way this works is you can redirect that carrier from your on-premise solution right to the Zoom Phone cloud. And if you can tell by looking at this diagram, that means it could probably also connect to your existing PBX. So if you want a hybrid model where you need to connect some of your users that might be in a branch office on a third-party PBX also to the Zoom Phone cloud, that will work too. So this really helps you establish and leverage those existing relationships. Maybe you've negotiated great calling rates because of your call volume. Maybe you want to get something up and running very fast and you don't want to go through the trouble of porting phone numbers or avoid early termination fees, and you just want to keep your existing calling plan. That's really what Bring Your Own Carrier is for. And then if you happen to be in a country or you have an office or users in a country outside of our native calling zones, then this helps you unlock that. So today we have customers that are using BYOC in South America, in Colombia, Ecuador, in the Nordics, Norway, Sweden. One of our largest customers is up there using BYOC to power entire offices with the service provider of their choice, not because we dictated to them what they should use. And then also we announced today that if you don't want to reroute your service provider from your on-prem to the Zoom cloud, that we are establishing a carrier peering partner program where we're working directly with the carriers so they can connect right into the Zoom cloud without having to reroute from your on-premise solution. So this makes it even easier, right? You don't have to worry about deploying an SBC, setting up call routing, and traversing and kind of tromboning or looping through your on-prem solution. Is that we'll work with your existing providers, of who GTT and Voxbone are the charter members of, to connect directly right into the Zoom Phone cloud. So this sounds great, Neil. You're probably wondering, well, how much does it cost? Is it $1 million, per user? It's pretty straightforward. So we position Zoom Phone as just another add-on service to the Zoom meeting solution. So if you're already a business, enterprise, or even a pro customer, we don't sell Zoom Phone as a feature, more or less. The features are there, but we will charge you for access. So if you want to make a phone call using your Zoom application, then all you have to do is sign up for a Zoom Phone calling plan. And the Zoom Phone calling plans are very, very straightforward. I have a metered plan, which means I pay per minute as I go, so there's no upfront commitment. Or if I have calls, or have users rather, that have a heavy volume of call traffic, then they can sign up for an unlimited calling plan. These plans are replicated in all of the countries that we support today, so we have metered and unlimited calling plans for not just the US and Canada, but also for the UK and Australia and the other countries that will be coming on board very soon. Each plan does include a phone number, so you don't have to pay extra for the phone number. If you want more than one phone number for each user, or let's say you want a block of phone numbers for your auto attendant, IVR, call queues, etc., you're more than welcome to add on as many phone numbers as you'd like. If you make a lot of international phone calls, you can sign up for prepaid commit plans. And what a prepaid commit plan does is, based on your expected volume of phone calls, we'll give you a discount. If you want to bring your own carrier to Zoom, it's also a discount, right? So instead of having to pay $10 per month per user at quantity one for access to the PSTN, you want to bring your own, then that's what the Bring Your Own Carrier license is for. And we have some additional add-ons, professional services, so if you would like help deploying Zoom Phone, configuring, provisioning, rolling out all the desk phones, we have teams that will help you do that, just like we do on the Zoom Rooms side. So as I come towards the end of this presentation before we open it up for Q&A, I want to reiterate that although we've been in market for 9 months, we've had a rapid pace of innovation. The velocity here has been outstanding, and it's truly because we have this very mature platform that was built to handle video at scale. So when you think about this platform we've built, adding audio on top, it's nothing, because audio is so lightweight compared to the video mixing that we're doing, that we're just adding features now. We're adding features as fast as we can. So everything from the Elevate to Meeting, which we rolled out back in March, to our Contact Center Partner Program in May, along with our Bring Your Own Carrier capabilities, And then we just continue to expand, add, iterate, and bring it out to you as fast as we can on more or less an every 2-month, 12-week, 16-week release cycle. So with that, I'll wrap up that Zoom Phone. It is a modern cloud phone solution. It's an add-on to that Zoom meeting platform. We are a video PBX now. We are video first, but we can accommodate all of the traditional trappings that a phone system has. We provide everything wrapped into one centralized management interface, and we provide a very secure and reliable service. So with that, I will say thank you, and we'll take some questions. And it's a little loud in here, so if you raise your hand, I'll come up, get your question, and then repeat it for the crowd. The question is, oh, thank you, we got a runner here. The question is, are Avaya IP phones on the roadmap? So Avaya IP phones, most of them are proprietary and only connect to the Avaya solution, so no, because we can't. Some of their newer phones, which are SIP, which are based on the SIP standard, they can connect. So we do support non-certified phones. So I talked about 50 phones being certified already. If it's not on the list, but is still a standards-based SIP phone, it can connect, but we'll only do best effort. So if you have a problem where you can't get it to connect, we'll try to help you, but we won't guarantee that it'll work, essentially. Question? Raise your hand. Oh, right here.
I saw about the Salesforce integration. How about SAP? Is that in the roadmap?
So Salesforce CRM is the only CRM integration currently on the roadmap. We are providing APIs to our customers that will mature over the next 6 to 12 months. So if we don't have it today as a native integration, you'll be able to build it yourself or hire an ISV to help you out with that. Up over here to the.
Hi, so you mentioned TLS and SRTP. That's for devices or phones?
Yeah, it's so the TLS and SRTP encryption and authentication are for our hardware endpoints as well as for the SIP signaling that goes through our applications. It's for both. Any other questions? Oh, here's one.
So we're testing the phones right now, the handsets, and we love the simplicity. There is one thing we were wondering on the roadmap. Is there any roadmap to potentially get a one-touch dial into a meeting? So it pops up on my phone and hit join and it joins the calendar or joins the calendar meeting.
From where? Just from making a phone call on a desk phone?
On the handset, correct.
Yeah, that is something that we've talked about internally. It's not committed on the roadmap, but we're looking at a way to how do we make that be as frictionless as possible. So absolutely, we've heard it, they asked before, we want to make the experience, so that's what Zoom does. But I don't have a date for you. But you can expect us to have something.
Hi, so you guys introduced a live transcript the keynote today. Is that available on the phone, and can I get that pumped into Salesforce?
It is not available on phone today, so you would have to elevate the phone call into a meeting if you need the live transcript capability. So that's what I do, because if you're a phone customer, you're already a meeting customer, so you could elevate into the meeting and have access. Probably not. We want everybody to go into a meeting as quickly as possible, as become more and more video first. I think what you'll see is that we'll add transcripts to call recording, and if we bring live transcripts to the phone call, I think we want to encourage people to go into the meeting to do that.
Hi there. Thank you for the details around pricing and so on. Could you expand a little bit more on international pricing, so pricing for DIDs outside of US and Canada, and also emergency dialing support beyond the US and Canada?
So I'll answer the latter question first. Emergency dialing support is supported outside of the US and Canada wherever it's required by law. So it depends on the local country's requirements from a regulatory perspective. If it's required, we support it. Otherwise, we don't enter into that country, or we rely on a bring your own carrier partner to do that. Your first question regarding pricing internationally, it's actually the same as US and Canada with an exchange rate applied and then just some normalization. So it's very, very competitive and very similar to what we offer here. There's no extreme markups. We try to keep it consistent.
Yeah, quick question on BYOC as well as native. Can you mix and match those in a
Yeah.
single environment?
Yes, you can.
Okay, can I do a quick follow-up on that?
Yeah.
As far as BYOC goes, I know that either customer or carrier has to provide the SBC. Is there some sort of like configuration generator or something like that that is sort of part and parcel of that?
Yeah, so we're partnered with Audio Codes today. So if you're an Audio Codes customer or you're going to use one of their SBCs, we have configuration guidelines. It's not an automated script, if you will, but we do have a configuration guide for you.
Does the phone app work in a VDI environment?
Good question, and it was on the list. So the Zoom app running on desktop now supports VDI, specifically Citrix VDI. Others are being tested, but right now we know Citrix is okay. So yes. We want the folks at home to be able to hear you too.
Thanks. Sorry for making you run. So I know that RingCentral is one of your partners. I'm sort of curious as to how that relationship, is supposed to work between you and.
I was wondering when he was going to ask. So the question is, RingCentral is a partner. How does the relationship work? They are a partner. They're a very strong channel partner of ours. So it's still business as usual for us. So occasionally we run into each other in the same opportunity, and we work it out between ourselves. But they're a partner. The question up front was, do we offer nonprofit pricing? Yes, but you have to work for the sales rep to get access to it. We don't publish anything like that.
I'm back here. Hello.
Yep, hello.
Just regarding the experience of transferring between devices, right? You said place the call on hold and then pick it up from the other one. Is there any plan for like a takeover where you just have more of a seamless transfer so you don't have to say, hold on, Neil, I'm going to put you onto my mobile. You just pull it up on the mobile and see the instance and then say, yep, I'll grab that.
Yeah, so that's how our Zoom room flip works. So if I walk into a Zoom room using the same proximity detection we use on the meeting side, that I can flip it to the room, and then you have to acknowledge it in the room to make sure you're transferring it to the right room. But yeah, it's more seamless where you don't put them on hold, they don't hear hold music.
Okay.
Etc.
And then same thing, you can go back to the mobile device after you've gone into the Zoom room and.
Yeah, that part's not there today. If you put it on hold, then yes, but the seamless flip back is not the same.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep.
Just a quick question about timeline of SMS integration.
SMS integration, something that's being talked about very intently right now internally. We don't have any dates. It's not on the short-term roadmap. In other words, it's not coming out next quarter, but it is something we're looking at for beyond the current quarter.
Should we be expecting a Zoom UI to desk phones?
Yeah, maybe. I think if you're using an Android-based device, we have an Android app, we have a meetings app, these things are coming, yes. Maybe one or two more questions.
Really quick one. So if I'm in if I have a Zoom room and I don't want to use my app and I'm sitting with a couple people in a conference, can I actually use that Zoom room to connect to the PSTN and not have it in a meeting?
Yeah, great question. Were you a plant? Are you a Zoom employee? No.
Am I a Zoom employee?
Yeah, I know. So the question, can I assign a Zoom phone extension or phone number to a Zoom room so I could use a Zoom room as a conference room for audio-only conference room? The answer is yes. So if you have a Zoom room, you can assign Zoom phone license to it, a calling plan and a phone number, and dial out from it without any video. All right, with that, one more question. She's got a microphone for you.
I was wondering what the SLA is for Zoom phones.
So our SLA, our standard Zoom SLA is 3 nines. So if you don't ask, we'll offer up 3 nines. If you ask, we'll go to 4 nines today. All right, so I think we're done with questions. So thank you, everybody. I'll be around off to the side. If you have any other questions, come on up. Enjoy the rest of the Zoomtopia.